Decade of research. A white man from Des Moines found out his great-grandfather was black and actually competed in the Olympic Games in Paris. KCCI's Ticia Muzinga tells us how he made this truly incredible discovery.
Everybody knew it. They just didn't talk about it.
It started when Matthew Lundeen was just a kid, cleaning out his great-grandmother's house when she died in 1997. Inside, he found his great-grandfather's accomplishments in the early 1900s, Charles Brookins Jr.
His Olympic jersey, I think I saw, and just there was a room in the basement full of trophies.
Back then, Brookins was praised for his undeniable talent in sports, breaking records in Oskaloosa High School. But track and field was his true calling. The University of Iowa lists Brookins as the first Iowa athlete to hold a world record in events like the 40-yard dash in 1922, 220-yard low hurdles in 1923, and 400-meter hurdles in 1924. He was also a member of the Olympic team at the 1924 Paris Games. This is him finishing second in Paris. Lundeen says he was later disqualified. During his fame and success, Lundeen also says Brookins was running from his truth. Ancestry.com and this U.S. Census gave him his first clue.
Basically, it all came down to I was just going through the data that each census gives you, and next to his name and his family's name was the letter B, which I figured out. At first, I thought it was a mistake, but I figured out it meant black. So I checked the other censuses that I could find them recorded in. And it either had a B next to their names or it had an M for the outdated racist term mulatto.
Newspaper outlets often called him out, even though he passed as white. And his father, Reverend C.R. Brookins Sr., had an open secret too.
You found out more about your great-great-grandfather.
At the end of the article, there was just a short paragraph that said that he was born a slave before the war, learned how to read and educated himself after the war, and then he was planning on heading back south at some point to serve his people.
That was Reverend Brookins' purpose, being a leader in the black community, especially in Iowa. Lundeen has been investigating where the former slave from a Charlottesville plantation died. So far, he narrowed it down to El Paso, Texas in 1908, the last state to end something he was familiar with, slavery. In Des Moines, Ticia Muzinga, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Unbelievable. Lundeen was not able to track down a grave site, but he says he hopes to write a book about finding the true identity of great-grandfathers.
Jeremiah chapter 12 and verse 9. My heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about her are against her. Come ye, assemble, all the beasts of the field, come to devour. Shalom, it's Brother Mo's name, back with a quick lesson through the spirit of Yahweh, bahasham, Yahweh Shai. First and foremost, I start by giving all praises, honor, and infinite glory to Yahweh, bahasham, Yahweh Shai, bahasham, Ra, Kwak, Kwadash. His name, Heavenly Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Hebrew tongue. Next, I'd like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for bringing us His truth in the 100% form. Salutations to the Akim, which are the brethren who help share that truth throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their lives day in, day out. And shalom to the Akwaf, which are the sisters who listen, learn, do right in the household. To the few, I like to say shalom, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. The title of this lesson is simply going to be entitled Speckle Bird. And as you've seen in the clip, it was a so-called white man, but his forefather went back to a slave, a slave man, I believe a slave in, I forget the state. But yeah, his forefather went back to a so-called black slave, okay? And that makes him what, man? Not an Edomite, but an Israelite, okay? And contrary to this world, they believe that you can be mixed, but according to the scriptures, it is no mixing. You are what your father is. Just like if you plant an apple seed in China, right? It's still gonna grow what? An apple. Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assemble all the congregation together on the first day in the second month. And they declared their pedigrees. You see, what's that pedigree? That's your stock. That's who you are. They declared their pedigrees after their families, right? By the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names in the 20 and 2 years old and upward by their polls. You see? So it's by the father. And that man happened to find out that back in his, back in the day, his great grandpa was a so-called black man, and making him what? An Israelite. Because we're not these social constructs that the world, this world puts on us. These different colors, white or black. These terms are recently made by the devil for confusion. This is Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9. It's just that the Edomites are the so-called Europeans. So-called what they call Caucasoids, right? But still, if I lie with a woman that looks, that has a pale complexion, and then that son lays with a woman with a pale complexion, well, what do you think my son's going to look like? But regardless of what he looks like, his pedigree, his stock remains the same, his bloodline. Jeremiah chapter 12, verse 9, my heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about her are against her. Come ye assemble all the beasts of the field, come to devour, because the Lord scattered us. And now we are amongst the heathen, making us subject to what, man? Some of the Israelite men laid with heathen women, and then so on and so on. And their sons laid with heathen women and making them look unto like the heathen, But that doesn't mean they're not an Israelite. All right. So that's a cut to all these black only Israelites, all these blackety black Israelites. It's all about black people. The government calling you a black Hebrew Israelite. No, man. All right. You'll have different shades of men in this thing. When the Lord comes back and returns his elect, you'll have he said his heritage is unto him as a speckled bird because of what? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. Okay? And what do you think? The Lord said he did not consume Jacob. All right? He didn't destroy or stop the bloodline. But in some cases, the Lord have the bloodline look like other nations, even to help preserve, his elect, his bloodline, his people, to so much so he in some areas he preserved it by making it look unto the heathen, like the heathen, and you can see that clearly in the clip I shared. All right, one more time. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. You see? All right. A reference a lot of brothers bring up is the Blake Griffin. You've seen Blake Griffin. You have his son. His son, if his son lays with a white woman and produces another male, right? It'll look unto you like a so-called white man. But, it's the stock, it's the pedigree still of an Israelite, more specifically a Levite, because Blake Griffin's father is a dark-skinned Jamaican man, I believe, or Haitian, Jamaican or Haitian. I believe it's Jamaican, though. All right. Let's carry on. That's why we got to judge by the Spirit. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. Verse 17, and if children, then heirs, and heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. And we got to judge based off the Spirit, not based off appearance. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. I'm going to leave off with this. I didn't intend for this to be too long of a lesson. Lord willing, it has been edifying. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14. But the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit, of the Most High, for they are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned, you blackety black Israelites, right? 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15, but he that is spiritual judges of all things, yet he himself is judge of no man. With that, I'd like to say shalom, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, bahasham, Yahweh Shai, bahasham, Ra, Kwak, Wadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.